There are just a few weeks to go now until Model World Live 2025 takes place at the NEC in Birmingham on April 26th and 27th, and we're here at Pete Waterman's workshop to find out what's happening with Making Tracks and its expansion plan for the show. Come with me, I'll show you more.
The problem we always had with this project was we could never achieve what we wanted to achieve, if you get what I mean. It never looked quite as grand as we wanted it to. So we had to go first 4 foot this way, so we got 2 foot, so it's 6 foot wide, but we also had to add another 8 feet. So when you do that, the scale of modelling just becomes completely different. To get the block of flats in which, you know, you've seen the big tall flats, they're very impressive, but there are other flats, and the other flats are far more complicated than the original flats, but we wanted them because they're unique. So since January, really, Phil's been designing the block of flats, which you'll see that go there. They are very, very complicated. I mean, we spent 4 or 5 hours this morning just punching all the holes out. So, you know, but what, you know, if you're going to build scale, you've got to make it scale. And the complication is part of it. This building definitely isn't for the beginner. This is, you definitely need a lot of patience for this. What we were doing when I was doing the Scenic side, what I realised, there's this, you can see how high this is. That's because all this was the spoil when they built the tunnels. So they just chucked all the stuff that came out of tunnels here, and that's why you've got this big bank, and why the levels are all over the place. To model that's a challenge, because of course in reality it's a mile nearly from the tunnel to the station. So you take even a tunnel that's a mile long, it's just over a mile long, and you take all that waste and you put it round, you've spread it over another mile, so it's not as tall as you think it is. But we've obviously condensed everything, so everything slightly looks bigger than it is. This isn't just 8 feet. It's 8 foot long by another 4 foot wide. So if you work out it's 4/8, it's almost 56 feet, you know, on its own. It's like modelling a whole new layout just for this bit. And that's what we're talking about here. This isn't like you're just adding 8 feet of rail. In fact, the easiest part is adding the 8 foot of rail, because you've got, you know, 4 tracks at 8 feet. But you're adding, you know, 4/8. Because, you know, these boards are this wide. That's a huge amount of work. So, you know, you take the 3 blocks of flats out. There was no base, no roads. This is all new. All the bridges are new. All the gantries have got to be new. All this bit's new. All this bit's new. We've had to take out a lot of greenery, new trees, lots of new trees. So it isn't just adding 8 feet, it's putting a brand new model in that 8 feet, because that's the only way you can say it. This is a complete model. The problem with building a big station like Watford is that you can't just build a station that's 17 feet long, because you know, for most people, that's the whole room. All you've got is a station. You can't even get in and out because it fills your room. So if your station is basically 17 feet, right, then the bit in and the bit out has also got to balance up. And what we did, because if you remember originally, Watford was part of our world record attempt. So it was never meant to be a standalone layout. But the cathedral asked us to go and we turned it into a layout. It was only then that we went, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it properly. It's got to, if you've got a station that's that big, and if you look at Watford Station with the flats and the car parks and the roads and everything, it's colossal. You've got to do that. You can't fake that. It just doesn't look right. The other thing you've got to remember is that when we showed it at Blakemere, it was wrong. We showed it at Blakemere with the flats. We all worked like Billio in December to make those flats fit, but they were wrong in that they were the wrong angle. And Phil kept moaning about the angle we put everything at. But you can see now, since Blakemere, all this has had to change. And now the flats are in the right angles. And by the way, they haven't even built this block of flats yet. So we've got the tall block of flats. They haven't even built that yet. So it was, you know, but you can just see for those three flats, which are massive, now that they're in the right position with the right distance, they are going to be big. And with this, you're going to have a whole different, you know, a different view and a different place to look at it. I knew you were coming today, so I've been here this week from 7 o'clock every morning because none of this was here on Sunday. So when we finished work, you know, modelling on Sunday night, none of this was here. So this, I've had to come in early morning, including this morning at 7, to get it to look like, so the person at home can have an impression of what it's going to look like. Unfortunately, I can't show you the flats, although you'll see the flat later on, that when you guys have put it in, it's tight. I'm not going to kid ourselves. There's a lot of work we've got to do yet. Aaron's at least worked out all the catenary, which will go in. That's not a problem. They've wired it, but there's all the car park markings to do. There's 3 blocks of flats. That's a block of flats there, a block of flats here. This has still got to have, Paul's got to put the grass on this. There's still, you know, gardens and bits and pieces to do. We've got to level the boards up. It'll be ready, but it'll be a hell of a, you know, there's a lot of work to do. I'm not going to kid. You know, it's this, I'm looking at it now, and I know that, you know, the people watching this can't quite get their head around it, but if you'd have seen this on Monday morning at 7 o'clock, you wouldn't have believed that we could do this. In fact, I've got to be honest with you, I walked away last night, took a picture, and I was so chuffed with myself, you know, I had to sit down and have a cigar. Well, because it's such an enormous task that when you actually see you've achieved something, you just look at it and you just go, that's what I dreamt of. That's what I thought of. That's what I wanted to do. You know, and we've all worked for that aim and it's worked. You know, so obviously you're not going to see this until the NEC with all the flats in. So when you see that, you'll be seeing that probably for the first time at the same time as we're actually seeing that for the first time. Because we won't put these blocks of flats in now till we get to the NEC. So we'll put all these in, you'll see them, but you won't see the whole scene because we won't be able to take that picture because we just won't have time. So we'll see you at the NEC.
So as you can see, The Railnuts team have got their work cut out to get Making Tracks 4 complete in time for Model World Live. That's just a few weeks away on April 26th and 27th at the NEC in Birmingham. Discount advance tickets are on sale now, so they give you a saving over on the door prices, plus you get early entry from 9:30 a.m. on each day of the show. So head on over to keymodelworld.com/Model World Live. You find out all the details about tickets, exhibits, everything else you can see at the show, which features model railways, scale modelling, radio controlled, slot cars, and some fantastic full-size exhibits too. We hope you enjoyed this latest update from Making Tracks and Watford Junction. I look forward to seeing you all and Watford Junction at the NEC.